Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, today we're going to completely transform how you think about public speaking. We're unpacking the exact science-backed techniques used by literally the best presenters in the world. We'll be drawing directly from Carmine Gallo's analysis of the most successful TED Talks of all time. Our goal? Uncovering how you can forge a deep, unforgettable emotional connection with absolutely any audience. To really grasp the sheer power of these techniques, just think about this incredible number, $55,000. Back in 2012, civil rights attorney Bryan Stevenson delivered a TED Talk that pulled in a combined $1 million in donations for his nonprofit. He spoke for just 18 minutes, so do the math. That comes out to over 55 grand raised for every single minute he was up on that stage. And here's the real kicker. He didn't use a single slide, no props whatsoever. It was just him speaking right from the heart, relying entirely on the raw power of his narrative. And, Stevenson is just one example. Every single day, TED presentations rack up over 1.5 million views. Let that sink in for a second. The world is just incredibly hungry for great ideas presented in an engaging way. As our source material points out, ideas are the true currency of the 21st century. But an idea is really only as good as your ability to communicate it. A genuinely well-delivered presentation can literally change the world. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our agenda for today. We'll start with the power of ideas, followed by the 3 secrets to an emotional connection, which are passion, storytelling, and practice. And finally, we'll wrap up with how to build your very own TED-worthy presentation. Section 1. The power of ideas. Ideas are the currency of the 21st century. Effectively packaged ideas do way more than just share information. They elevate your stature, they increase your influence, and they genuinely have the potential to start massive movements. The greatest communicators out there are constantly seeking out new ideas. Take Tony Robbins, for example. He calls himself a learning machine and noted that TED is the place to learn. People who captivate audiences are just naturally inquisitive. They want to learn. And more importantly, they have this incredibly helpful, enthusiastic tone because they genuinely want to share what they've discovered with you. Moving on to secret 1, unleash passion. You've got to dig deep to identify your unique connection. To actually connect with an audience, you have to dig deep. Think of supermodel Cameron Russell famously swapping her glamorous heels for flats on stage so she could passionately talk about self-esteem instead of modeling. To find that level of passion, we kind of have to shift our whole mindset. Look, most people prepare for a presentation by asking themselves, what is my product? But as Steve Jobs famously implied, you should really be asking, what makes your heart sing? Think about it. Starbucks isn't passionate about coffee. They're passionate about building a third place between work and home. Zappos isn't passionate about shoes. They're passionate about delivering happiness. So ask yourself, what is it that truly drives you? Now, I know that might sound a little fluffy, but it's actually rooted in hard science. Management professor Melissa Cardone defines something called entrepreneurial passion as a positive, intense feeling tied directly to a person's core self-identity. And the science shows that this passion is literally contagious. When you speak about something that is profoundly meaningful to you, your energy mobilizes. Your enthusiasm physically rubs off on your listeners. It's pretty amazing. And this brilliantly illustrates just how practical this is in the real world. A study actually analyzed business pitches made to the Tech Coast Angels, which is a major investor group. When these investors ranked the criteria for why they chose to fund a startup, get this, perceived passion of the speaker came in 3rd. It actually beat out the entrepreneur's education, their style, and even their prior startup experience. So if you want people to buy into your ideas, you have to show them you are fully emotionally invested in them. Does your audience actually feel your passion? All right, secret 2, tell stories. This is all about reaching people's hearts and minds. Remember Bryan Stevenson facing that resistant room we talked about earlier? Well, he didn't start with facts. He started with a warm story about his grandmother to earn their trust. The sheer power of this approach perfectly aligns with Aristotle's 3 components of persuasion. When researchers broke down Stevenson's talk, they found that only 10% was ethos, or credibility, and only 25% was logos, or data. A massive 65% of his presentation was pathos, appealing to emotion through story. It just goes to show that even for a Supreme Court lawyer arguing incredibly complex social issues, emotion heavily outweighs data when it comes to true persuasion. So why do stories work so amazingly well? Well, neuroscience actually gives us the answer. Over at Princeton University, researcher Yuri Hassan used fMRI machines to scan the brains of a person telling a story and the people listening to it. He discovered this crazy phenomenon called brain-to-brain coupling. Basically, when a speaker tells a personal story, the listener's brain responses perfectly mirror the speaker's. It's a literal mind melt. The storyteller is actually planting their ideas and emotions directly into the listener's brain. As researcher Brené Brown brilliantly puts it, stories are just data with a soul. And it's so true, right? We are all natural storytellers. You simply cannot persuade through logic alone, because as Brown points out, data without a soul just doesn't stick in our minds. And hey, crafting a story really doesn't have to be complicated. Just look at Kurt Vonnegut's concept of story shapes. The most gripping narratives follow incredibly simple arcs. Take the man in a hole shape. That's just someone getting into trouble and getting out again. Or the Cinderella arc. That one starts with terrible misfortune, goes way up, dips slightly, and then ends in off-scale happiness. People literally never get sick of these shapes. The takeaway here, give your audience at least one character they can root for and take them on one of these simple, proven journeys. So, what kind of stories should you be telling? There are 3 highly effective types you can start using literally today. First up, personal stories. Dan Ariely, a behavioral economist, hooks his audiences by talking about his traumatic personal experience in a burn unit. Second, stories about other people. Sir Ken Robinson delivered the most popular TED Talk ever by telling a story about a little girl who couldn't sit still in class, who eventually grew up to choreograph cats. And third, brand success stories. Seth Godin uses the invention of sliced bread to explain marketing. Just humanize your data with one of these 3 types of stories and you are absolutely golden. Which brings us to Secret 3. Practice relentlessly. Have a conversation. Don't just deliver a speech. To look completely natural and conversational up on that stage, you actually have to embrace kind of a bizarre paradox. Harvard professor Amy Cuddy famously said, "Don't fake it till you make it. Fake it till you become it." True persuasion requires emotional rapport and trust. If you're standing up there mentally scrambling to remember your next bullet point, your body language, your gestures, and your voice are going to be totally incongruent with your words. And trust me, the audience will sense that discomfort immediately. You have to internalize your content so deeply that your delivery becomes completely authentic. Just take a look at musician Amanda Palmer's prep for her viral TED Talk. She didn't just wing it, not even close. She spent 4 whole months preparing. Step 1, she crowdsourced ideas on her blog, just to see what people actually cared about. Step 2, she sought out brutal, honest feedback early on from mentors and peers. And step 3, she rehearsed relentlessly. We're talking hosting potluck dinners in living rooms just to practice in front of diverse groups of people. She even practiced in front of strangers at a bar. I mean, that is the intense level of practice required to make a presentation look effortless.
Finally, Section 5, your TED-worthy presentation. This is where we put those 3 secrets into action. To totally overcome the trap of delivering those boring, data-heavy, totally forgettable speeches, you need to weave these 3 secrets together. Find the passion that literally makes your heart sing. Wrap your data in the soul of a good story. And practice relentlessly until you're having a genuine conversation with your audience. I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought to take away from this explainer today. If you can't inspire anyone else with your ideas, does it really matter how great they are? Ideas are only as good as the actions that follow them. So use these secrets, captivate your audience, and give your ideas the platform they truly deserve. Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer.